Today's workshop is about providing farmers with some information on alternative techniques for managing stock in a cropping system. The second part of our session has focused on stock containment areas and the management of stock during dry seasonal conditions. And a third section of today has focused on stubble management and the grazing of stubble.
When managing stock containment areas, farmers need to keep in mind the health issues that are associated with grazing or keeping stock in stock containment. They're in a lot more confined area, so the risks of disease are higher. They also need to keep water clean and fresh all the time. If stock run out of feed, they run the risk of potentially gorging themselves when they do get fed, and risks of associated problems like grain poisoning and the like. The ideal setup for a stock containment area is to make sure that stock have plenty of room, that they have some sort of shade and shelter, that it's got ample supply of water, plenty of space for stock to actually feed from feeders and from hay, and best scenario is to actually have hay and feed at one end of the yard and water at the other end.
If you're looking at using a containment area for holding stock, and especially it's an option once we start running out of paddock feed, things to be conscious of is making sure that we get the feeding ration correct. One of the benefits of using a containment area is that you have full control over the diet. The ration that you use will vary depending on the class of stock that you're feeding.
When grazing stubble, farmers need to be aware that the stubble may not actually meet all the requirements of the stock that they're actually grazing on the stubble. They also need to be mindful of ground cover over the paddock, how much grain's available, how far stock have to walk to water. Also watch body condition of livestock to make sure that they're not losing condition on those stubbles. Body condition is so important because it's a hard thing to actually gain back. It costs money to feed stock to gain that body condition back, and it can have ongoing effects with the production of your stock.
In terms of monitoring from the paddock point of view, one of the key things is the grain availability that's out there. That's the main driver of condition in stock, so we need to be able to do some grain counts to make sure that we've got enough grain available to stock. At the minimum level, we only want to graze stubbles once they get down to the level of about 40 kilos per hectare. From a ground cover perspective, we want to make sure that we're monitoring the ground cover available in the paddock, and we only want to take that ground cover down to an absolute minimum of 50%. And you might even take that a little bit higher if you're trying to really make sure that erosion isn't a problem. And from a livestock point of view, we want to be making sure that we're monitoring the condition score of stock, particularly your adult stock, because it's a big driver of a lot of their production aspects. And from a growing stock perspective, you'd be looking at things like the growth rate as well as a monitoring tool.